$500 off select UTV models in stock.
Fear no place with high-tech power sports from Segway.
Adventure Oklahoma at Auto Finders. Financing available with approved credit.
It's the Full Send Summer Savings Event with Segway at Adventure Oklahoma at Auto Finders, Highway 64, Roland. See AutoFindersOK.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Mostly clear overnight and very mild with the morning low down to about 70 degrees. Any breeze will be very light out of the south. Monday, sunny and warm, very warm in fact, highs in the mid-90s. Tuesday, sunny skies and very humid with highs in the upper 90s. I'm Jared Sorello.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 31 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well, take it to the house.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
That's even one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Good morning and a very happy Monday. It's halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. And we get a full week all together now. And I think that's probably going to be the case until at least football season starts. I don't know what Matt Jones's plans are, but I know mine are. I don't have any more days off planned. No more trips planned. I'm Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston here today as well. Hope everybody had a good weekend. This will be our last week was our last week without, I guess you could say, football season being here because camp starts on Wednesday. We're going to hear from Coach Pittman, and I'm assuming a few players on Wednesday get to hear from Coach Pittman tomorrow. So I guess it's right here upon us. Morning, Matt Jones. Does that mean since camp starts Wednesday, does that mean season starts on Wednesday? Or are we waiting for games to actually call it football season?
Well, camp started for everybody but CeeDee Lamb, and you can understand why he's not in camp yet. But, man, it's good to be here this Monday. It was a good weekend, and, yeah, let's get it.
We are going to be getting it with you for these next 5 days. And I was really glad to be able to get back home after the trip through New York. Saturday was a long travel day, about 6.5 hours in the car. Had no issues flying back. Thank you, Southwest Airlines, yesterday. And with all the walking that we did, it's not like I needed a vacation from the vacation map, but yesterday was a day that all I needed to do was just sort of sit on the couch, lie on the couch, clean up a little bit, but just sort of one of those days. And yesterday's a good day to do that, a Sunday with some Olympics and baseball games and Olympic basketball too.
Yeah, I saw it was a girl win the silver, the USA girl won silver in mountain biking, and I know that's real big in Bentonville. It's real big in Arkansas up there. A lot of mountain biking trails, so that was pretty cool. Saw the women go 1-2 in the 100-meter breast, which was, the timing. There was a race that finished for one of the finals, and the winning score was like 59 seconds, .03. The last place score still scored 59 seconds. It was just it was sick how close it was.
Yeah, just a sliver of difference between glory, what they'll say is glory, and something that you'll always be remembered by, and basically being remembered by some of the folks in your country, your friends and your family, and maybe not too many others. Haley Batten was the name of the young lady who took silver in the mountain biking. She's from Park City, Utah.
Cool.
But I saw Alyssa Orange had her at her little perch looking across at the Eiffel Tower, I think, yesterday, and she made sure to give a thumbs up and say thank you to Northwest Arkansas, because that's obviously the training ground for Team USA. That's where the Olympic trials took place. So a little something to be proud of before a lot of the Razorback athletes get things going on what is it now? Would we say day? It's like it's always the same idea as this football season start Wednesday. Are we waiting for games? Like, you don't have an opening ceremony for football season, but
Sure you do. SEC Media Days. That was
so that's the opening ceremony.
That's it.
So that was the start of the season.
That's when it gets going. That's the pageantry. That's hey, every pomp and circumstance. And I was wrong. It wasn't the, what did I say? It was the breaststroke. It was the butterfly. That it was Husk and Walsh went one tune in. So I got that one.
When was the last time you got in a pool trying to swim in a competitive sense?
Oh my goodness! So I swam for the Alma Tide Riders when I was in 6th grade, and I cried every day about, not every day, but just about every day when it was game day, because I had to wear the little Speedos, and I was 11. No, I was like, I want to wear regular shorts. Like, I don't want to wear these, but this, like, you got to wear the required uniform. And so that was a big turnoff. I was like, no, I can't do swimming if you don't get to wear clothes.
Yeah, something that's a little tight like that. It's okay if that's the thing that's going on underneath the uniform, but if that's the uniform, not quite.
And especially when you see other kids wearing shorts, you're like, well, then why? You're not making sense to me. How come they can wear shorts and then you're just saying I have to do it, but you're not really giving me a reason. It's like, I can't do this anymore.
You also can't have any facial hair if you're going to be a swimmer. That's a total no-no. So I mean, for somebody like me, I literally cannot stand shaving. I would have to shave. You're right. You looked at your hands and your knuckles. You better not have any hand hair either.
But I'm getting I'm looking at the fingernails. I want them to look like guitar picks, like I'm about to go play a Gibson, and I need every one of them to scoop that water for me. That's right.
I just kind of wonder sometimes because, I hear of major league pitchers, any pitcher, you want to have your fingers be as long as they possibly can to control the ball. That means your fingernails matter. The length of your fingernails matter to be a pitcher. Is it the same for swimmers?
Well, it's the same for throwing a football, Phil, and it's the same for shooting a basketball, although you might want to ask other people that could shoot a basketball better. But I would never clip my fingernails the day before a game because the grip would be a little different. You do want that last thing touching is a little bit of the fingernail, no question about it.
That was one of those, like, I did some pitching in high school, and I didn't want to bite my fingernails, but sometimes it was a little difficult to even remember not to do that. But I wonder sometimes, too, about, you don't see this with the men all that often, but like, even women's basketball, the ladies, some of the ladies will have very long nails, and you can hear the nail is the last thing when the ball comes off their hands. And you wonder, well, it obviously works for them. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, don't do that. Doesn't seem like it would work. It obviously does seem to work for them. But yeah, I don't think I could have been a swimmer. Too much body hair, and I'm just not going to shave at all.
I saw a little bit of the USA Serbia game. So the league MVP Jokic was out there, and man, it was
KD was man, that was something.
He's
else.
a cheat code, man. He's like, I'm telling you, he had a 6-year window. People want to hate on KD. He had a 6-year window where he was the best player in the NBA. There's no question about it. Now that he's past his prime. You get up to that level and you have the best team. You're playing against guys that all these guys don't play in the NBA, so they don't understand how to play deep. And you give KD a sliver, man, hand down, man down. That's a bucket.
Well, he was nothing but a bucket yesterday. I don't even know if he played much in the second half. I mean, I was flipping back and forth between, and I know by then the game had already been finished. But this is what it's like to watch the Olympics: is you don't always get to watch everything live. And I already knew what the final score was, so once you got in the second half, I just kind of turned it off. I was flipping back and forth between that basketball game and disaster movie. I wouldn't call it a classic. Deep Impact. It was kind of flipping back and forth. Now it takes me a little bit of time to get used to how to do it on YouTube TV, but I did get it where it was just a button away, and I didn't miss many of Durant's buckets in the first half. What did he go? 8 out of 9, 21
5
points.
for 5 from the 3. Yeah,
it's just amazing. But I did miss the impact of the of the asteroid. So I missed one of the things that I was really excited about. And that movie just doesn't hold up very well. I saw that when it was in the theaters, came out right, I think just before Armageddon, which was a lot better, and people still make fun of Armageddon too. But yeah, 110-84 over Serbia, and now we got to wait till Wednesday against South Sudan. Women's basketball opens up today against Japan.
Who loses the game first? I'd say this, Phil. I could see the women and the men's not losing a single game. Both teams not losing.
That's where I was going to go to. It'll be I think it'll be an undefeated Olympics tournament for both Team USA men and women.
You got the golf coming up, but and I know your first question today, Phil, you're talking about football camp and the Hogs getting ready for camp. This little like eye of the storm period right here where you have like 7 days before camp, it's always the most anxious. It's kind of like, okay, let's get here. And then after about 10 days, 12 days of it, you're like, I don't care what we do. I just want to hit a different jersey. Let me see somebody else's stupid face because this is too much.
Every year, any of your teammates ask somebody to put a different colored jersey on just so they could practice looking at somebody that wasn't in a red or a white, or I guess you would wear some black. What did you wear? Green?
We had green.
You, right?
We had green. I don't know what color they do now. We were green, but there should be a little edginess after the first week of camp. There's gonna be a couple fights. I mean, that's how football is. That's the nature of it. If your team's not getting a little edgy and you're not having a little bit back and forth, you're probably not going to be very good. Now, that doesn't mean you go and hurt your teammates, but yeah, there'll be some scuffles, so to speak. And it's healthy. But the thing Coach Nutt always did, and every coach I've ever had, Phil, that whenever there was a player conflict and you had a fight or argument or scuffle, whatever, man, they took those two guys and you figured it out and you moved on. And you never had another thing come up again from that day forward with those two guys again. It's amazing how it works. It's almost you get it out of your system and then you realize, oh, we do have the same goal in mind.
Well, and then I think in some cases there are those teammates that get into a fight might be closer once the fight is concluded.
Absolutely.
If they've actually gotten it out and they can see eye to eye, and coach grabs them both by the face mask and pulls them in tighter so that they can smell each other's breath. Which, of course, they just were smelling each other's breath if they were throwing fists at each other anyway. But I'm happy to be back in Arkansas, done with all this travel. I think next Monday, Matt and I are going to be at Topgolf in Rogers, so we'll call that a little bit of travel as we'll get out and about a little bit.
I get to see Phil's golf swing now. Yeah, I've
Don't
heard
put
about
any
it.
Pressure on me.
I've heard about the golf swing, but now I get to see it.
Maybe I'll have to send you a video of a really good one. Gabe and I went to a golf range a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, all right, you got to hit. I'm playing director to him being camera operator. I got a couple of good ones off, but now you've already put some pressure on me. Now I'm starting to get nervous because you're the guy that golfs like 100 times a year, and I might have golfed 9 times in my life. But at least I don't have to putt. You know, I don't have any putting at Topgolf, right? Please.
It's man, I steal those lasers. I've been a couple times, and it's pretty cool how accurate those lasers or the chips or whatever they put in the ball. It's pretty cool.
It's also it's 2 weeks before school starts, public school at least, getting out there. So it's all coming here. Football season has started because we've had media days, and essentially summer is over because most people are completing their travels. My daughter comes back from camp on Wednesday. It's time for haircuts, buying new shoes, getting all the school supplies.
Do they do? I don't know if we'll get any other players on before camp starts, but how do they do camp How do they do camp now? I know everything's different. Do they go? Are they in a separate area like in the dorms on campus? You know, are they all together? Do the veterans get to leave off campus? Are they stuck together for 20 days? I say stuck together, but you know what I mean. They have to be. You're around each. I mean, you wake up at 6 a.m, you see them, and then you go to bed at 10. You see your teammates. It's how it goes.
Hey, and it's all before the town of Fayetteville really starts to burst at the seams with over 30,000 students coming in this year for the school year. It's literally a calm before the storm.
Each day the parking lot gets bigger and bigger, and then you're like, I don't know if I want to move my car right now because
I saw Danny West was by the stadium a couple of days ago while they were working out on the inside, and he's sitting there on I think it was on the hill between the stadium and the dorms up the hill, and he's just taking a little bit of a video, and his whole point was to point out how quiet the streets are right now, by not just in Fayetteville, but right there in campus, where it is going to be literally nuts in about 2 weeks. It'll really start getting crazy. And yeah, we're getting into football a little bit more than usual, I think. And you got NFL camps have been in full swing. You've got quarterbacks that have been signing big-time contracts. And Georgia football continues to get in a lot of trouble. So here's what's halftime for this Monday. Right now, John Calipari is having a press conference where he's detailing what the Razorback basketball program's summer has been like. Got a big commitment from point guard Darius Acuff on Friday out of Detroit, the number one point guard in the country. The first pledge to the 2025 class. I know he really can't answer questions about that, but he can answer questions about what this basketball team has been doing in the last few weeks. So we'll get some sound from that when he's concluded. I think there's a couple of the players that should be up there speaking once Cal is done. Mike Irwin joins us in about an hour, and we'll also talk with Nate Olson from Scorebook Live about some of the basketball talent and football talent in the state because, hey, we're less than a month from high school football season getting underway. Plus your calls and texts. We can take them as we come into the next segment, 877-377-6963. Good to be back on a Monday on Halftime, and we'll be back right after this break.
This is Halftime.
We'd like our program to reflect our state.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and HitThatLine.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch.
Big old slab. C'est bon, Sakhalin.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season, from baseball, golf.
Find halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, Matt, I'm not exactly sure of the housing situation for the players while they're at camp, but I can tell you that practice does begin Wednesday at 5:05 promptly. And then Sam Pittman and selected players will be available to the media. I'm assuming you'll hear from Taylon Green. I'm kind of expect that you might hear from the captains, or certainly from the quarterback, because you won't hear from quarterbacks again for almost 2 weeks after that. Looking at the schedule, you can tell they're prepping for a Thursday opener because the scrimmages are Thursday scrimmages rather than Saturday scrimmages, which is usually the case. You got one next Thursday, and then the following Thursday, there'll be morning scrimmages. They'll be closed to the media. And, of course, it all leads to kick off on Thursday, August the 29th. Got some morning practices for a couple of weeks after this week, and then you get to evening practices, which I'm assuming is trying to get guys ready for an evening football game to start the season. But there it is, 25 practices, all leading up to kickoff against UAPB on August the 29th. We'll hear from every position group. We'll hear from all of the assistant coaches. And it kind of starts tomorrow because there's a media day tomorrow right as the show starts, maybe before the show starts. They say Sam Pittman speaks at 2, and then Ben Souders, strength and conditioning coach, at 2:30. So it's all there in front of us. Mm-hmm.
Camp is camp's changed a little bit where I don't know that you have the back-to-back two-a-days anymore. I don't know if they're allowed to. You have a lot more walkthroughs. Yeah, it's reined back a little bit. And so you have to be careful. And one of the things you have to do the first couple weeks in camp, you have to make sure you get some live hitting in. You got to get some action. You got to have a scrimmage. You got to tackle. You got to come to balance. You got to practice these things, because if you don't get out there on a Saturday, you're going to act like you've never tackled before. So it's real important. That's why I was, if you remember, Phil, I was real big on them having scrimmages in spring ball, and I love that. And so you got to have a couple of them early. But you want to stay healthy. You got to kind of protect your starters. You kind of it's
got to be like a bit of a.
It's a little different of a
fine
feel
line to try to balance
in fall camp to spring camp. Absolutely.
But for a quarterback, you're not getting hit. I mean, you're going to get hit in a scrimmage, I'm assuming. You can't just take that green shirt off for this. But this is also a focus of at least what we've heard of from Clay Henry when he's come on. And Clay is the guy, I think, more than anybody that comes on our shows that has seen what spring ball was like. And he hadn't been held to 20-minute media viewing sessions, and aside from this position group and that position group and where he thinks that they've improved and everything, one thing that he's hit on with us, and I'm pretty sure he's done it the same on the morning rush, is the physicality of practice has stood out to him in ways where maybe it didn't previously. So sounds like they're coming ready to hit, and they're coming ready to – I don't know, they're coming ready to hit early, but when they do, it's not like it'll be the first time all year that they have.
Well, and you have a thing. It's called thud. That's what Coach Nutt called it. Everybody has something else that you're going to call it. Or they still might call it thud. But it's where you tackle and wrap up. You just don't take them to the ground. You hit them. You go hit your guy and you wrap up. There's just no taking to the ground. So but you got to go full speed because you start being timid. That's how injuries happen.
See what we got this week. You hear from tight ends on Thursday. That's a position of strength, with Coach Turner coming over from Stanford and Luke Haas and Ty Washington and Varkey's Gums. So you hear from them on Thursday. I'll assume you'll hear also Andres Paskey is going to be an interesting tight end transferring in. I think it was Central Michigan where he was playing. More of a blocking tight end, so I wonder who it is you'll hear from, because you usually hear from just two of the players per position group. Scott Fountain and the specialists on Friday. I wonder if you're going to hear from a place kicker, because I'm still not sure if you've got one picked out. That's a position that I think may be a battle going into fall. Like, I can't call it fall camp because it's not fall. It's still summer. It's not fall if it's 100 degrees outside. And then the wide receivers will get out there on Saturday in front of us. Excited, is, I think, a position of strength this year.
Yeah, excited for a tight end. Always when you have a field goal kicker battle, you got to do things because it's all mental with these kids. I mean, they have the talent to make a 40-yard field goal. So if you get the team around them and you're hooping and hollering and yelling and it's, hey, you make this field goal and they're going back and forth. If you got two guys, if you make one, the team doesn't run. If you miss one, so you're putting pressure. You got to find a way to put pressure on these kids in a practice setting, just kind of like in basketball Coach Richardson would do. Everybody shoots free throws. If you make it, you don't run. If you miss it, the team runs. So there's a little pressure because that's what's going to be going on. If it's in the fourth quarter or the end of a half or, whatever, that's they call a timeout and try to freeze you out. You got to get something in that mental capacity of having them feeling like that instead of just going out there and just kicking like they do in practice. You got to have some type of thing that makes them feel a little pressure.
That makes them feel, hey, you make this kick, we won the game. You miss this kick, we've lost.
Yeah. You got to have something because then they get out there and then they haven't felt that pressure yet until the first time, and then you're kind of beholden to if they make that first one, well, maybe they get going and they don't miss one. But if they miss one, then you're a head case. Then you're Chuck Knobloch. You can't throw it to second base. You can't throw from second to first all of a sudden.
Yeah, Knobloch would have been the guy that you would have said, don't have him on the field during practice if they did a 27-out drill. The 27-out drill is the one who's like, you got to get 27 consecutive outs in a routine, infield, outfield workout. And I've seen it before where somebody on the 26th or 27th out, bounced a throw and it got through, or, bobbled the double play ball and cost him an out at first base, and you just say, oh, gosh, here we go all over again. It takes a while.
It's like getting 3 straight stops in basketball practice. Now, maybe we'll have to go more because you're saying 27 outs, but that's the thing, getting 3 straight stops on defense at basketball. You got to get 3 in a row to be done or at the end of practice.
Kicker is there's got to be a battle for kicker as far as this team is concerned. Shipley did not have a very good spring from everything that we read, and even the spring game itself, he missed a couple of kicks. So the pressure's on him from the start. Because do we talk enough about how good Cam Little was here? I think you've even brought it up. Didn't you think he was their best offensive player last year?
The last 2 years, no question. I thought. We talked about this last year when he wasn't going in the draft. I told you he'd be drafted, and he's that dude is. I've been around. I've seen Scobie. I've been around NFL kickers. I know how good they are, and how much talent you have to have. Cam Little has that talent. That dude, he can play on Sundays for the next decade, Phil, if he can stay healthy. No question about it.
I saw a photo. Well, I guess it's not a photo because it's all graphics now that the Jaguars had put out. I think yesterday. Of Cam Little on a couch. Now, there's a lot of jokes going around on the internet about couches these days. I don't know if this was one of them, but it was him on a couch, and he's got the mustache now. Remember, Cam at Arkansas was just as clean cut as it got, fresh-faced. He looks like he should be pitching for some SEC baseball
like an
team.
Australian team or something?
Yeah. Really. He looks like half the pitchers, 3/4 of the pitchers in SEC baseball. He's got the mustache going out. So I guess it's also filtered over to football, specifically to the kicker position. I wonder how many offensive linemen are going to be sporting them. Doubt I would pay to see
I think
money.
your boy, the prom king from last year, he showed up to camp with the stash. So it might be going around apparently.
The prom king, when you say prom king, I always think it's Travis Kelce.
That's exactly who it is, yeah.
Did he just have just the stash? That
I
was
think
it?
so, yeah.
He's not going to be allowed to sport that without an okay from somebody that's a little higher than him.
That's true. I'm surprised he didn't change his number to 13 this year as well.
That'd be a difficult number to change to, Matt. If you believe in that sort of stuff, nobody wants 13. There are skyscrapers.
Dan Marino
all across
didn't even
the
want
country.
13. Yeah.
It was lucky enough.
I wonder if there's a quarterback that's ever won a Super Bowl with the number 13. I bet the answer is 0.
I think you have set
a starter.
You have set a topic for me to research.
Sorry. I'll look it up too. I know Dan Marino made it to a Super Bowl and never won one, but yeah, that is kind of a little unlucky.
Matt, it's what ChatGPT was born for. I'll do this. I'll type it in here. Say, chat. Has there ever been? This will be fun. Live on air AI conversation. Has there ever been a quarterback who has won a Super Bowl wearing the number 13? I'll have the answer for you when we come back,
13.
okay?
I like it.
Stay with us. Chat GPT on halftime right after this.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted Best Garage Door Company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Presented by Sharp Equipment. Get hooked on Sharp Equipment this year. Sharp Equipment has hooked up with Eastern Oklahoma Guide Service for a free guided fishing trip with the purchase of any Wacker Newson equipment. Along with getting a superior piece of equipment, you will get hooked up with a free guided fishing trip for the chance at a catch of a lifetime. Visit them at Sharp Equipment, 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or call them at 479-242-1406.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT hand-breaded chicken sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between two thick slices of toasted sourdough. only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
When I'm with you, baby, you are my head. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. All the things you do for me and everything you do. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. With the butterfly, I can fall in love. And I just can't seem to get enough.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
So I typed it into the chat GPT. The answer was, Kurt Warner, you idiot. Don't you remember? Which was pretty much the responses on the text line as to what Super Bowl winning quarterback wore 13.
I can hear people just screaming into the radio. At least 3 people like, dang it.
Little did you realize, like, you think it's a one-way medium. No, the text line, the phone calls are one thing, but if you scream just loud enough in your car, because we can hear it through the speakers, it's acting like a little bit of it's like 1% of your speakers or microphones back to us. We heard you.
Dan Fouts, was he number 13 as well? Because I think that when you go down the group, no, he was 14. But Dan Marino. So I guess the question is, Phil, if I said, here you go, here's your team, prime Kurt Warner, prime Dan Marino, who are you taking as your quarterback?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm too much of a Marino fan, just being from the neighborhood.
Well, the answer's Dan Marino.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, it's not a hard.
Just because he never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's Dan Marino's.
He didn't have the greatest show on turf around him.
Yeah, I mean O.J. McDuffie. He had Dupree, Clayton. He had some guys,
Duper. He did some great.
He didn't have Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden. He didn't have Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. Yeah, there's probably a couple. Orlando Pace, the best lineman at the time.
He also didn't have a defense that could make a stop for you on the goal line when they needed a stop.
That's right.
At the very end of it, of course, by the time they got to near the very end of the one Super Bowl Marino played in, it was pretty much already over. Let's see who else wore 13. Yeah, Marino is probably the best. Warner, he didn't just wear that in the pros. He wore that in Northern Iowa. Maurice Clarett wore number 13.
Ooh, man. You look back on his whole ride, his whole journey, Phil, there should be some restitution. He should have been allowed to go to the NFL, and that whole thing that got what he should have been able to play, and he had to sit out and kind of got off on the wrong track. But that kid, he was talented. He just kind of went down the wrong road for a little bit. Yeah, man, he was a stud.
Gino Torretta wore 13.
For the Hurricanes
winner.
Yeah.
Heisman winner, and then who did he go? Did he go to the Vikings? I mean, he didn't really.
Bernie Kosar were kind of like in that.
He didn't have much of an NFL career, but that's who Brett Dolan works with on Touchdown Radio.
Nice.
Torretta owns that network, and then he's also one of the color commentators. Remember, Brett said last week, "Why are you doing Miami at Cal? Why that game?" And he said, "Well, it's pretty much my color commentator who also decides what games they're airing."
You told me their first 3 games. They get the USC LSU game, right? Like his first 3 games are pretty sick.
I could pull up one of the photos that Brett sent me of it. But the first game they're doing is the one in Dublin, Georgia Tech, Florida State. Is it? Who is it? Georgia? I forget exactly who it is. But anyway, Brett's got other things going on. So I sent him a photo. I didn't get to bring this up the other day on the show. After I was finished with Friday's show at the Hall of Fame, Josh Rawitch, who we had on the show Thursday, the Hall of Fame president, took us into the Bart Giamatti Research Center and had all this stuff up here for us to actually touch. We put on the rubber gloves and could handle these things. Ty Cobb's outfield mitt from the teens, Lou Gehrig's 1939 jersey, Ted Williams' 1942 jersey, the batting gloves Derek Jeter wore when he set the Yankee career base hit record, the bat Ernie Banks used when he hit his 500th home run, the actual day-by-day sheet that the Brooklyn Dodgers PR department used for Jackie Robinson's first month in the major leagues, that kind of stuff. Yadier Molina's catcher's mask in 2006 in the World Series, the cleats worn by Tom Seaver when he set the record for strikeouts in a game. That was awesome. So I had a photo of that. I'd sent you that photo. I'd sent Clay that photo and a couple of others. Sent it to Brett this morning because he can obviously get, he's all about those kind of things. And he sends me a photo of the Coliseum in Pompeii, which is not a town in Arkansas. That's Pompeii, Italy. I sent him stuff from the Hall of Fame. He one-ups me from Italy, for crying out loud. Well done. That's very well played, Brett.
With a nice rosé as well.
He didn't have the Chianti, though. 877-377-6963. Chris in Springdale says Dan Marino was the Mahomes of the 80s. The difference is that he didn't not only, I mean, he didn't even really play in too many championship games, if I remember. Like, Mahomes has been there, 5 straight years, conference championship games? I think Marino was in...
Going for a three-peat.
Might have been in 3 of them in his career at Miami, if that. So, I mean, there's a difference. But he also was sort of like, that's the thing where I can see where Chris is saying, when you watch Patrick Mahomes play quarterback, nobody does it like that. When you watched Marino play quarterback, even though he was the sit back in the pocket and read the defense, nobody really could play quarterback like that. So you just it was appointment viewing.
I got Marino more like Aaron Rodgers, and I got Mahomes more like John Elway. If you're going to give him some 80s, Mahomes is a little more athletic, so is John Elway. As far as how they throw the ball, the release and how it is, Marino, Rodgers, those are 2 of the best passers of the football that I've ever seen. I mean, the ball just glides right off their hand. Marino wore 2 different shoes. I mean, he wasn't as he was a little banged up, but he wasn't as athletic. I'd have him more. And Aaron Rodgers as he's gotten older, but Marino had that quick release. It was out and it was there. Absolute underrated, no question.
Yeah, Scott says there's no one like Mahomes, and that's right. I don't think there is anybody like Mahomes. I think he plays the position in a way that, I mean, the only way that I could compare, if you're looking into somebody from the 80s, maybe a little bit of Elway, just a little bit. Like
just
Elway
his athletic ability and can
Mhm.
run around and move the pocket and Elway could have played baseball. Mahomes could have, his dad played he could have done things like that as well.
Well, Mahomes also throws the ball a little bit like Kozar used to throw it. A little sidearm, a little flip.
Different
here and
arm
there.
angles. No, yes, you're right.
That's one of the things that makes I'd try that. It'd be like, I can't even throw a spiral anyway. I'd be better just flipping the ball to begin with. Speaking of NFL quarterbacks, what did you think over the weekend with Jordan Love and Tua signing their extensions? They are now the highest paid quarterbacks.
Jordan Love's 9-9 in his last 9 games. So it's
the thing. I mean, that's part of the deal of the way that the Packers develop their quarterbacks. They sit for 3 years. You get 1 season. He looks great. They win a playoff game. Now you got to make a decision.
I think to what you brought this up a couple weeks ago, Phil, I think that it's better for the teams to sign Love and Tua because the cap goes up so much over the next couple years. So if you're a team and like you think of the Cowboys and if you think Dak's your guy, you need to sign Dak right now because if you wait till next year, it's going to cost you that much more money. So I think it's a good move by the Packers and the Dolphins. I wonder the fine print, the CTE stuff, how much of it's guaranteed with Tua if it's a concussion type of deal. But, I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, you can't win in this league. And I think Jordan Love, he's on the come. It's going up, but he is 9-9 in his last 18 games.
But this is also the way things go. There are going rates for quarterbacks, if you're a Pro Bowler, you win a playoff game, or you look as good as Love did, or as Tua has looked in his career for the most part, and you can look and say, well, they're the highest paid quarterbacks. Look at what Mahomes is making compared to them. Look at what Aaron Rodgers is making compared to them. But it's all about what the TV money is at that time, and the salary structure responds to the TV money. So I don't know. I don't look at it as like this is an insult to other quarterbacks. It's just what this means to me is these are the guys whose contracts were due up now, and if you're going to sign these guys, you're going to sign them before the season, which also leads to Dak Prescott. Sign him before the season. I can't imagine. Do the Cowboys even have a choice in this case? I mean, just let him play out. You don't sign him before the season starts. I don't know if Jerry is the kind of guy who really likes to or wants to negotiate during the season. There are some franchises that will not do that. But can you let him go and the team itself go into this season knowing full well he's going to be a free agent by the end of the year and being okay with that too?
There was, you got to have somebody on deck. I think Matthew Stafford might be a free agent at the end of this next year. Russell Wilson could be a free agent. You start looking at what's the market, who else is out there. Dak's probably your best. I mean, that's probably your best option as far as you got to see who's available. I heard say there was Stafford and somebody else they were talking about could be Matthew Stafford could be a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. You could see that going for a couple years because he has a couple years left, but I think if you're Dallas, Phil, I think they're all in on Dak. I think Dak's going to be the quarterback until, at least another couple years.
All in on him.
Got to get CeeDee Lamb into camp. Got to get. You don't have to get him into camp, honestly, but you got to get it figured out. You got to make sure he's at practice at least 10 days before the first game. Like you got to give him 2 weeks before the first game.
877-377-6963 if you got anything you want to bring up about that. I knew JT would come in with this because he's back from his vacation to Turks and Caicos. I'm just happy you got there, JT, with what happened with all the air travel last week. And I knew it's like we had listeners, wonder who's the quarterback. Any quarterback ever win a Super Bowl wearing number 13? We just couldn't. It couldn't break our mind. You're screaming at the radio.
Monday.
Kurt Warner. Yes, that's right. They're quicker than we are on Mondays, apparently. You're doing the same thing with Dak Prescott. There's the Cowboys fans listening right now that are shouting, no, anybody but. When you realize also that anybody, he's probably still better than 97% of the other quarterbacks that are out there? That will be available to you next year?
That's the question out there. I don't know. Is Josh Allen getting anywhere close? Does Buffalo let him go?
Let that guy go.
Brock Purdy, I think, might be in the last year of his deal. So is that a guy that you think, is it a system thing or can he actually lead a team? And that's the question with Brock Purdy. Can he make a team better or can he just be the system quarterback?
No, all these guys, now I don't know if it's a matter of Dak, but whenever they sign their contracts, if it does come with the salary cap expanded, so you're at a point now where Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and Jordan Love and others are making more money than who we've been taught. We talked about him earlier in the segment, the best quarterback in the world, Patrick Mahomes. But it's all about when you signed your contract, the length. And remember, Mahomes has a 10-year deal that he signed 4 years ago. So there is, and I think most of it, if not all of it, is guaranteed. So that also plays into it. But when the TV money goes up, the salary cap goes up. And I do wonder if we're also going to be talking about this with college sports at some point.
When are you going to have that's the other thing, Phil. If you get college sports and then you have kids holding out of college camp, that hasn't happened yet. But what about kids showing up and you see guys transferring or whatever, but they're holding out trying to get that deal right before they actually get it. That'd be wild.
Been a holdout free zone for forever. Might be able to fake an injury to a point, but at some point you're getting on that field and you're practicing or you're not playing. Just continue to blur that line between college and pro sports. Hey, remember Crabtree RV Center in Alma, the dealership that's been serving our listenership for over 70 years at the junction of I-40 and I-49 in Alma. Making plans for this summer, if you got a couple weeks left, or any other summer. There is an RV on the lot at Crabtree RV that fits your family's needs. They got the service and parts department on site as well, and everything you need right there at Crabtree RV. You can go online at crabtreerv.com for more information. Back to wrap up hour number 1 of Halftime after this.
This is Halftime.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Come on along, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Light.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022. Anheuser-Busch, Busch, and Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Herod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 4th Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Has your job been grinding your gears lately? Then let me tell you about Lavorne Lumber. They're looking to fill a regional over-the-road position. They use brand new equipment in your home every weekend. Don't think you're getting paid enough? That's not the case at Lavorne Lumber. They're highly competitive in that area. So if this sounds like a great next job opportunity for you, then stop by and see Pam and the Bills Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 at Lavorne Lumber. 515 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith, and online at Lavorne, Lovvorn lumber.com.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT hand-breaded chicken sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between two thick slices of toasted sourdough. Only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Rock on, gold dust woman. Take your silver spoon. Take your bread. Charlie, pick your bread. Wake up in the morning, see your sunrise.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Talk with Mike Irwin at 12:15. He is deep into the John Calipari press conference, which looks like it has moved over to the players. Already had Boogie Fland on, and Trevin Brazile is speaking right now. So I'm just going to get to hear from one of the incoming freshmen and the one player remaining from last year and from the Eric Musselman years. Here's an interesting thing that Calipari said about Trevin Brazile. Quote, this is coming off of our ESPN Arkansas HitThatLine.com Twitter account. Quote, I want TB to be an attack dog. I don't want him shooting threes. Big Z, he's 7'2". It's the same for him. He'll be shooting twos, unquote. We think of Brazile as a guy who stretches the defense by an ability to shoot from the outside, but he can drive. But the one thing I wonder about him is he's not a post-up guy. I don't think you're going to get that out of him. But just getting to the rim a little bit more often and not settling for those threes. Maybe that's what he's trying to communicate there is don't settle for the three and don't think about that first in the back of your mind.
You know, Brazil's upside is just he's got some upside. He's a 2 right now, a 2 out of 10. Like, he's not even close. You watch him play. That's all I was screaming about last year, Phil, was be aggressive, get in the paint. Why are you 7 foot and you're always just hovering around the 3-point line? You know, like, these are you watch him play, you can see it. You're like, oh, dude, his potential is he can be a lottery pick if he'll figure it out. There's no reason Grant Nelson should be better than Trevion Brazile on a basketball floor. I mean, you talk about talent and athletic ability and what you can do. He should take some of that personal. You know, Brazile. The sky's the limit for that dude, man. He can play in the NBA if he'll just figure it out. And he needs a post-up move. He needs a back to the basket. He needs to be able to have – because he doesn't have a bag as far as dribbling. He's not really going to cross anybody up. Or he's got that first step that he can do, that he can go, but he's not really going to rock you to sleep. So get the ball. Get that. You look at some of these guys in those shots like the Joker shoots. You look at Kristaps Porzingis. What was he getting to that free throw line and getting a shot? Brazile can shoot over everybody. He doesn't have to worry about his shot getting blocked. Man, what an easy way to work on your mid-range, and all you got to do is fade just a little baby. Nobody can block your shot. I mean, there's so much you can see that he can work on.
42% of Brazile's shots last year behind the three-point line. And over 34% of his shots, over 35% of his career shots have been behind the three-point line. This has got to be a mindset thing for him,
Exactly. 10 boards a game. If he's out there more than 20 minutes, there's no reason he shouldn't be getting his. He's going to be the most athletic, longest, tallest guy on the floor most nights. Let it shine.
You can shine on halftime, 877-377-6963. Stay with us. Hour number 2 right after this.
When I go out to eat, I want something fresh. I don't want something that's been sitting in a freezer or processed. When I go to Lily Sandwich Shop, I am satisfied to the max. That's because Josefa makes everything fresh and uses that River Valley farm fresh produce during our long growing season. Stop by Lily Sandwich Shop in the Bakery District and become another satisfied customer. The sandwiches speak for themselves.
My name is Lily. My Baba makes the best sandwiches at Lily Sandwich Shop. Come by and see them at the Bakery District today.
Summer camp, vacation, travel baseball, repeat. Family reunion, lake time, I'm beat. A parent in the summertime is a glorified chauffeur, but if you find yourself in a fender bender, you'll need a good lawyer. I'm Jackie Mock. With 12 years of experience in insurance and car wreck cases, I can help get you back on the road for more summer fun. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witz Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witz Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be in the low to mid 90s. We'll end up with a clear sky tonight, overnight low near 75. Sunshine, mid to upper 90s tomorrow. Wednesday, we're looking at clear skies, mid to upper 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 31 days.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that was respected. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
You're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well,
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
Number one Razorback is vintage Matt Jones. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Welcome back. Halftime, hour number 2 on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. It's felt like a Monday today for certain. But the voice is kind of coming all the way back after the trip, and brain takes a little bit longer to come all the way back. And we'll be talking with, speaking of brains and voices, Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation, about 15 minutes. Coach Calipari's press conference concluding. I think the players should be finished. I think they're done right now, is what I just got from Christian. Yep, it's an hour-long press conference to talk about the summer, and we'll get Mike's thoughts on that when we get a little bit, well, about 15 minutes or so. So if you want to get on with us, now can be the time, 877-377-6963, as we are 2 days away from officially the start of preseason Razorback football camp. And we're also, you get your first NFL preseason game on Thursday. The Hall of Fame game in Canton Thursday, Houston and Chicago. So I guess that's officially when it really is football season, because then you get a game where they're going to be keeping score with a clock, 4 quarters, televised, a real football game. You ever play in the Hall of Fame game, man?
I did.
I did. I had a catch. I had a couple catches in the hole.
Now, how long-
We played
how-
the Cowboys.
Were you out there for a quarter or a half? How long?
Oh, I didn't make that team. I was the one playing in the fourth quarter. You're not making the team if you're playing in the fourth quarter of the preseason game. Yeah, it was cool though. The whole experience of it was pretty cool. Yeah.
When you got to go inside the Hall of Fame, too,
Wade
get a look.
Phillips was the head coach of the Cowboys. During that game. Yeah.
His dad had the best name. Bum. I don't know anybody else with that name. I'm not sure if that was his real name. I doubt it was. Let's see. We got Charlie with us here. Take our first call of the hour. Charlie, good morning. Good afternoon. Not good night.
How's
How you
it
doing?
going? Yeah, good night. Is that what it is, Phil? Are you exhausted, man? You sound tired a little bit over there.
I'm all right.
Can you-
Oh, look, listen, Charlie's giving me some scouting advice now. You're right, though. My voice might feel a little bit tired because it's just not quite used to thinking this early on a Monday, at least not from last week.
I understand.
Tell you what I had to do, though. I'll cut you off real quick. Last week by now, I did have to think because I had to convince my father that the planned subway trip that I had for us would actually get us to Yankee Stadium. Does anybody have this issue? You've been asked to research a route from one place to the next with your parents, and they don't believe that you're actually going to be able to get them there until you get them there. And then he thinks it's the greatest thing he's ever seen. So I guess last Monday I had to actually have my brain working, Charlie.
Well, I do have the issue of my mom never believing me or just chewing me out for whatever she feels like doing at the time. But no, not there yet, Phil. But my mom, she's hard on me. But I am her only baby boy, so she, and I am a mama's boy. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't nobody gonna stunt on here. The tuna is a mama's boy. But I will say this. I was thinking about what you guys were talking about on TV. Matt, last year, especially with our team, and usually we had Mitchell in there, whoever at the 5. I think a lot of it was, too, we were just so bad at making outside shots that somebody had to take them. I mean, and also, because when you drive and you kick, and he was wide open a lot of times because, we were not a good outside shooting team. And then the year before, we were not a good outside shooting team. Now, from what I'm hearing, I don't know about this year either, but hopefully the main thing for me, I just remember TB in Maui. Phil, I don't know if you remember him in Maui, just how he played. That's the TB before the ACL injury. And that's the TB that I hope we can somehow see again. Now, Matt, I don't know. You've had some injuries. Everybody, and I was thinking about what Kendall Diggs went through this year, too. And sometimes it just takes people time. And then you got the mental aspect of it. I think TB, as you said, can do a lot of things to affect the game. And it's not just about him taking outside shots. And I just think about that Maui TB, and I slobber over it because.
So I mean, to cut, stay with us here, Charlie, because like you brought up with Diggs in the shoulder, you could tell during the season that whatever the shoulder, however he felt, that got into his approach, and the reason why you might swing at a pitch or where you're trying to hit it, that kind of thing. The injury and the approach, I think, ended up going, one right into the other. With Brazil, I don't know. I mean, like if you're going to play with power around the rim, you got to trust your knee.
I think to what you're saying, Phil, I do think it was in the back of his mind. I would see games last year that he would kind of go, but then he would look down before his feet would touch the ground because he didn't want to step on somebody else's foot. So it was in the back of his mind.
It's a mental and a physical thing for him. And I think if he can get over that hurdle, man, and he'll be okay. And plus he had the ankle too, right? And that was on the same leg during the year. So hopefully, I mean, that's the thing. We all know the talent is there. And he was going to be, in my opinion, guys, if he stayed healthy, he would have already been drafted. He wouldn't even be on this team. So that's just my opinion on TB. Anyways, y'all have a good one.
Thank you very much, Charlie. 877-377-6963. So it's not just TB, Matt. It's also Big Z, who I also thought, when you read the reports about Big Z and the kind of player he is the kind of guy that can help stretch the defense a little bit. Now, I'm not sure how much of a ball handler he is, but I think he's got a decent outside shot at 7'2". That would certainly make you think you're going to have somebody who's going to step outside a little bit. But it's the same idea with TB that Cal says, is that he'll be shooting, 2-point shots. I think part of it might be, who do you want taking your 3-point shots? And I think Charlie did have a salient point. You didn't really have many guys who were going to hit them from the outside last year, or at least statistically that wasn't the case. This should be a better overall outside shooting team this year. I think Nelly Davis, he's a guy that can hit from the outside. I think he was over 40% last year from behind the arc. Arkansas, I don't think Arkansas had anybody from behind the arc at 40% last season.
Well, the offense is good and all. There's no question you got to play offense. I'd say the weakness of his game is the defensive side of the ball. He gets lost a lot with his eyes. He gets after 3 passes, he's kind of looking. Defensively, Brazil's going to have to get a lot better if he's going to get run with this team.
Realize the best 3-point shooting percentage last year for Arkansas was Chandler Lawson, 40%, but that was on 15 3-point shots. If we're just looking at the guys who got the bulk of the minutes, it was Tremont Mark, 36%. So who else is going to take the shots in this case? And I think Brazil was a better 3-point shooter than he showed, but now you have a head coach that wants him to have a different mindset. And I wonder, in the back of his mind, maybe he's got to change who he is as a basketball player in that case too. Because before the knee injury, he was still a guy that would shoot from the outside. It's just there were more 3-point shots last year by percentage comparatively to the other shots for Brazil than the first 2 years. So maybe it's those two things that were put together. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McClarty on our hotline here. We'd had a scholarship question coming in. Yeah, the deal with the scholarships, and I know somebody had asked about disclosing NIL deals, which is also part of this settlement for the NCAA. That's not this year. I don't think you'll get any disclosures on student athletes' name, image, and likeness deals this year. It will start with next athletic year, which will be 1 year from now, where you got to report. And I haven't read everything about it, but as I understand, if there's any NIL deals that are above, it's something like $500 or $600. Essentially, anything that has to be reported for tax purposes. It has to go into an NCAA clearinghouse, has to be reported, and you have to be able to prove that this is actually money for NIL, not pay to play. But that's not this year; it's next year. So I guess you get to be a little bit more opaque about these things for the time being. And the scholarship questions and everything, I think there's a lot of reading that we have to do as far as the scholarships for all the sports. And really, it's not just scholarships. It's roster sizes. It's conferences that have to make decisions as to how many scholarships they'll offer. Schools got to figure out what they're going to offer to. It's just there's a lot for these conferences and schools to figure out. And I imagine you got to figure this out. Once the settlement is accepted, you really got to figure all this out by what? The end of the year? Because once the transfer portal opens in December for college football, now you're thinking about your next roster, and that's the roster that you're paying directly from athletic departments, and it's also the roster that's got to report their NIL deals that are going to think are worth more than $600. So all the complexities and all that stuff, I don't have full answers on those things for the time being. But I do have an answer about when Mike Irwin joins halftime. That's in about 5 minutes, so stay with us.
This is halftime.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned. Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas. More than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
479-782-3936.
The Dandy White Perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got coffee.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote His infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Eve from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
The Dandy White Perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got coffee.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song, Sunday afternoon, time to talk with Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation. Always appreciate his time on these Mondays on Halftime. Afternoon, Mike. How you doing today?
Hey, guys. I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good, good. How long was the Calipari press conference, and who spoke after him?
Well, they had Trevin Brazil there and a couple other guys. I had to leave right about the time that started because I had to get back home for a few minutes. But Brazil talked some. The Calipari part of the press conference lasted about 45 minutes, and man, he had a lot to say. And if you think about it, he should have had a lot to say because I think this is the first full press conference he's had since he was hired. We've seen little bits and pieces as he's been other places. You know, sound bites will pop up on social media, but this was a full-blown presser. And I found it fascinating. The first thing he talked about was they haven't done anything from a team standpoint. Any of the offense or defense they're going to run, any of that stuff, all summer was all about individual drills. He said, this is the first time I've really had a chance. He said, when you start with nothing, he said, I had no players, no schedule, nothing. And I started from that, and he said, one of the advantages is I got to handpick every player that's on this team. And he said he still sticks to that 9 will play. And he said, I've got, 3 guards, 3 wings, and 3 bigs, and that's what they're going to do. And he said anybody else that gets into that mix is going to have to play their way into that mix. But it is all about individual development. He said he has always had the philosophy that when a player leaves his program, he wants them to be able to say, I'm the best basketball player I've ever been. He said that's the goal with these guys. Now, it started, honestly, according to him, with physicality, getting bigger and stronger and being in better shape. And he said he's already had a couple of parents come in and immediately notice how much more physical looking their son has become. He said, we're hitting the weight room. We're doing it every morning. You show up, you got to show up on time for breakfast, and then we do weight training. And he said, there's nothing harder than to lift weights that early in the morning. That's what we do. He said, we're going to be a speed team, and I recruited players with speed, but he said, that doesn't mean you always are as fast as you can be. And he said he's already arranged to have the sprint coach for the track team to come over when they get back from this break they're fixing to go on, and they're going to work more on their footwork to become faster, to run faster. He said basketball players a lot of them don't know how to run, and we're going to teach these guys how to run. A lot of it is mental. He said our goal is to get these players to play fast but slow down their minds, and you do that through drills. He also said he wants them to have a mindset of thinking big but working bigger. In other words, he wants them to decide how big this program can be and to think bigger, but then you have to work harder to match the thinking big part. So all of that stuff was really interesting. Just his philosophy on how players, he says that players have to become, he's got to teach them to become their own biggest critics. He said, I want them to be harder on themselves than I am. I don't want them to judge themselves by what I say about them. I want them to go beyond and be more critical of themselves than I am. So all that sounds interesting. We'll see how it works out. One of the most interesting things I've heard him say, guys, is he started talking about the initial success he had at Kentucky, where he had that great run where he won a national championship and he was always in Final Fours, and that was before people got mad at him at Kentucky. And he said that was a great run, but he said, guess what? Nolan Richardson had that same run here at Arkansas. And he said, the people that don't understand this is a basketball school, I do. He said, Bud Walton Arena, we're sitting here I'm sitting there in my office in the middle of July, and I'm told Bud Walton's already sold out. He said, there's an excitement I felt all over the state. We're going to need help with this. He said, I anticipate, and I don't know how this works, but he said, I anticipate as many as 1,000 people who are Razorback fans around this state and maybe even out of the state at one time or another will help us do something that we need, so that when the season is over, 1,000 different people will be able to say, hey, I played a part in that. I helped him do this. I helped him do that. So he said a mouthful.
Was there anything brought up, or maybe not about brought up? You can tell that he's reaching out to the entire state. He's not just staying in Fayetteville and reaching out from there. I mean, he had a camp a couple of weeks ago in Russellville. They said they're playing, I don't know if it's exhibitions or scrimmages or whatnot, in Hot Springs and in Pine Bluff. Not every program that is viewed as a statewide program gets out and actually acts statewide. That stands out to me. I wonder what you thought.
Yeah, he didn't talk a lot about that personally today, but I've read that. And it's a tremendous idea because most people that inherit this job, and it's true in any sport, it's not just basketball, it's very unusual to take a job where there's one big major college team in an entire state that sort of dominates, where you've got fans all over the state. Most are split, like Alabama and Auburn, situations like that. So he obviously wants to take advantage of that and plans to do it. And I think it's huge. I think it's huge that he understands that. I think it's also interesting that he put, when I read that story about Ronnie Brewer, about him being in charge of player development, I thought, well, are they taking him out of a recruiting role? What is this? And he said, no, he's in charge of Arkansas. And he said, we've already made a couple of offers in-state, but he said, if we're going to offer a in-state kid, he's got to help make us a winner. Now, it's good that Arkansas has such good AAU programs and plays such good basketball, because I think a lot of people were worried that they weren't going to go after the top Arkansas kids. So there's an indication that they're going to do that. But he also said that Ronnie will recruit the Dallas area, up in Missouri, over in Oklahoma. In other words, he will recruit the area around closest to Arkansas. So that was interesting. But he also put Ronnie in charge of bringing ex-players back in to talk to the players and to be a part of the program, because I think that's big too. You get a Corliss to come in here, you get a Scotty Thurman, you get a Corey Beck, you get all these guys coming in and know that they're welcome. I think that's huge. If you don't have that, I think you're making a mistake.
Would you be into bringing guys that Coach Cal coached in Kentucky, or do you see that as maybe a drawback of just bringing guys that played for the University of Arkansas?
Like
if John Wall came in or Boogie Cousins, it's kind of the same thing?
Yeah, or what about Malik Monk? There was such a controversy when he left Arkansas and went to Kentucky. So are there still hard feelings over that? And I get the feeling that, no, there won't be. He would be welcome here. Calipari's such a likable guy. He's so easygoing. He was asked if he felt comfortable here, because there was a reference made to that statement he made about being initially on Dixon Street and having to have earplugs, and it was noisy and all that. And he said he's settled into his house now. He said it's on a golf course on the end of a cul-de-sac, and he said, I could get up early in the morning and walk my dog with my hair all messed up and no one ever sees me. So he said, am I comfortable with that? He said, heck yeah, I love that. He said, I've always liked living in college towns, especially if you've got places you can go that are close by, like Dallas or Kansas City. Honestly, with the airports around here, you can fly just about anywhere you want to go now, so with nonstop. So, yeah, he just said he was comfortable. He said his wife grew up 2.5 hours from here in Missouri, and they've already been up there and drove up there to see her relatives up there. So they're all happy here. He seems like he's settling in very good, and now you got to make it happen. And I think he knows that. I mean, it's going to be big when Arkansas plays Kentucky in Rupp. That is going to be a huge game.
Mike, can I ask you a football question? We got football camp starting just around the corner. How long will it be? Does this team make a bowl game? And when with all this basketball excitement, are people still going to be excited about football come October, or do you think we'll already be talking about basketball?
Boy, that's really hard to say. I've said this before, guys. I think one deep, this team is good. And I think we're going to see that starting when practices start later this week. Won't see a lot. There's so many things that we can't see. They're not going to do full speed contact in front of us. And honestly, this, most coaches are reluctant to do full speed hitting, tackling, blocking in practice in preseason, because you get guys hurt before they ever play. So they may do some of that. I don't think we'll see it. So what we'll really get is a little 7-on-7 action, watch receivers versus D-backs, watch quarterbacks without a pass rush, so it'll be hard to judge that. And I think we're going to find out about this football game, the second game of the year, when they go on the road to Oklahoma State. That's going to define, I think, the season. If they're healthy at that point, I think they got a shot. I like what Petrino does. I really think Travis Williams has those guys in his hip pocket. You saw the rap video he did that was put online. He had those guys going nuts. So you got, I think, an offensive coordinator that the guys like on the offensive side, a defensive coordinator, a head coach that's kind of learned, okay, I'll just sit back and let those guys do their thing. I'm in charge of, I'm going to go over here and help the offensive line, which is what I'm good at. If they don't get a lot of injuries, I think it'll be a good season, but you got to keep people healthy.
You think Oklahoma State's the most important game of the year?
It is, because I think you if you don't win it, it's got to be it. You got to see something in this team. You got to see some fight.
It can't be 48-14 like the last two games of the regular season last year. Is what you're saying?
Absolutely not. You got to have this new quarterback succeed. You got to see him run the offense, because that's what Petrino does. He develops quarterbacks. So we have to see evidence of that. And I don't know if you guys saw it. There was an online article that everybody's talking about, and I don't know how much Petrino, I mean, he's only had one press conference, so I don't know where this came from. But the article stated that he, when he was the offensive coordinator at A&M, started noticing around the SEC that all these defenses had gotten smaller because of the passing game, that they were recruiting linebackers that were quicker, defensive backs that were faster. They didn't want big physical guys. And Petrino noticed that, so he's going to go more with a power running game, which would, I think, surprise fans, because I think that he's more about throwing the football. So we'll see if there's any evidence of that. Are they going to use a fullback? Are they going to take Braylon Russell and use him as a fullback?
They've even said, I think the couple of the tight ends could drop back and line up as a fullback on occasion. Just the idea of that alone makes me think we're thinking a little bit about fullback.
That's right. So, guys, do we see evidence of that in the preseason? They may keep it from us. I don't know. But Petrino, Pittman always has his assistant coaches do one press conference in the preseason, and that's it. We don't get them until a bowl game, if they're in a bowl game. So Bobby Petrino will have his one press conference with us at some point over the next few weeks, and he will be asked about that, I'm sure. I'm not sure what he'll say, but people will ask him about it, and we will be watching for it when we're at practice.
Well, Mike, it will be occurring on August 13th, probably right around the time that we're starting halftime, because they've got a 9 o'clock in the morning practice, and then Coach Petrino and the quarterbacks are afterwards. So got to wait a couple of weeks to be able to hear from him again. And then it looks like they're actually going to have Petrino again a week later, just looking at the fall camp schedule. And again, please change the name from fall camp. So you hear from him twice, which feels, I mean, that's different. That's different. You're not just going to hear from Petrino twice. You're going to hear from Travis Williams twice, too.
That is very different. I didn't know that, and it is. It's. I'm glad to hear that, because that's one of the things about Pittman that I do not like. He got that from Kirby Smart, where he doesn't like his assistant coaches talking to the media a lot. Ugh. I do not like that. I think we learned so much from being able to talk to these position coaches, not just the coordinators, but the position coaches over the years.
Wonder at some point if someone would ask Coach Pittman about what's going on. I know he's not a coach at Georgia anymore, but, and we'll end on this thought here. You saw Ra Thomas last week, second time being charged with domestic violence of a sort, and was allowed to get into a diversion program the first time. The second time is not going to be can't go into a diversion program again. You got all these issues with players being incredibly reckless with vehicles. It's cost a couple of lives in the case. So, I mean, that is, to me right now, Mike, Georgia's got a little bit of the feeling of like Oklahoma, Miami from the 80s, early 90s, a little bit of Florida under Urban, a little bit of LSU under Coach O. That's a bad boy program, but nobody cares if you're bad boy if you lose. It's usually, the teams that make the headlines in this case are the ones that win, and Georgia's at the top of that list.
That's the real question mark with Saban gone now. Is Kirby Smart going to become Saban? Because Alabama largely avoided stuff like that. And that is, to me, is a warning signal. If I'm a Georgia fan, I'm a little bit unsettled by that stuff. You can overlook one guy, two guys, but when this stuff keeps happening, there's a sign that something's out of control there, and they got to rein it back in, or it could really hurt them.
Mike, we'll leave it there. Appreciate your time on these Mondays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike Irwin on Mondays here on Halftime from Pig Trail Nation. 31 days until kickoff. Got to be over at the Stadium Shop because it's football season right now. Load up on your Hog gear right at this very moment. The Stadium Shop has it all for you. Everything Razorback inside the doors. Whether your needs are tailgating, game day, man cave, dorm room, doesn't get any more Razorback than the Stadium Shop. Robert, Elizabeth, and Matt, they're local, they're family, they are alumni-owned, and you can call them at 479-STADIUM. You can visit them right next to Balm on Razorback Road and tell them ESPN sent you. Also online at shoponrazorback.com. 877-377-6963. For numbers on calls and texts. Halftime back right after this.
This is Halftime.
You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Halftime.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Has your job been grinding your gears lately? Then let me tell you about Lavorne Lumber. They're looking to fill a regional over-the-road position. They use brand new equipment in your home every week. Don't think you're getting paid enough? That's not the case at Lavorne Lumber. They're highly competitive in that area. So if this sounds like a great next job opportunity for you, then stop by and see Pam and the Bills Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 at Lavorne Lumber. 515 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith and online at Lavorne, LOVVORN lumber.com.
Warning, warning, attention all homeowners. Hi, this is Justin at West Termite Pest and Lawn. It's definitely bug season and we are priced to earn your business. Licensed in Arkansas and Oklahoma. Call today for a free evaluation. 479-782-7291. West Termite Pest and Lawn, protecting your home, health, and peace of mind.
All services performed with children and pets in mind.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Hey, this is Dr. Charlie Liggett with River Valley Smile Center. We dial
782-8940.
Coach Todd Holland, head baseball coach of the University of Arkansas Fort Smith Lions. I call 782-8940.
Stay cool this summer with a York high-efficiency HVAC unit. Or for more information on endless hot water and high-efficiency tankless water heaters, give us a call at 782-8940.
That's 782-8940.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Yeah, if I could stick my hand in my heart, spread it all over the stage. Would it satisfy? Would it satisfy? Would you think, boy, it's strange? Ain't it strange? If I could sing a love song so divine, would it be enough for me? If I could cry, if I it's so
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Good Mike Irwin on in the last segment. If you missed it, it'll be on the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast. I think he was referring to one of the, well, not one of them. I mean, he is the best freshman in the state. Well, not freshman, best player for the 26 class in the state. J.J. Andrews, Little Rock Christian, did get an offer from Arkansas from John Calipari, and we'll talk with Nate Olson about that at about 1:15. What'd you think, Matt, that Calipari is going to bring in one of the track coaches, the sprint coach for this basketball team?
I'm reminded of Coach Bielema's comment. Our kids are as fast as they're going to be, and it's just like, Coach, you're so in over your head. It's like, why are you so? Don't be ignorant about stuff, but absolutely, that the track, that spring, that bounce, that form, how your elbow goes into your knee, and when your knee is, when your foot's on the ground, and what your ankle, I mean, all those things they tell you, you go over it, you exaggerate the motions, you do the workout. I mean, it's 100% do it. I think.
But I also wonder if that's the kind of thing that is normally taught to basketball players. I'm not saying that in any sort of criticism of bringing in a track coach, but that's exactly the kind of sprint that I see baseball players being taught when it comes to running the bases. You know, I mean, the shift of the weight in a very certain way, make sure the first step is with this foot, be in line. But that's also for a sport where you're thinking about, I got to be really quick to get 90 feet or try to steal the base or get a good jump or go first to third. I wonder sometimes if we even think about that in basketball. We think of jumping. We think of, making moves off the dribble. You think of sprinting, but I don't know if we think of it in the same terms.
Well, then you just haven't ever done it, because you watch these sprinters warm up and you see how explosive they are, and you see how they jump before they're about to run. That's all about explosion. That's what you're trying to be in basketball. It's short bursts. It's short explosions. And so 100%. I tell all these high school kids, you should run track. I mean, that's just it's so beneficial. So to get some proper coaching, get the technique down. The track athletes are the most explosive athletes in the world.
So we get season tickets sold out at Bud Walton Arena. Fans are still waiting for the schedule. I think there still are a game or two, is what Cal said they're still waiting on to release the full schedule. Some other programs have released full schedules, but Arkansas is not one of them. I know the women's basketball team has not released it yet, but I'm assuming sometime soon you're going to get the last contract signed, dot the I's, you know who your conference opponents will be. So maybe at some point in the next couple of weeks we'll have a completed schedule for men's basketball and for women's basketball. Speaking of sellouts, Oklahoma State reported that the game against Arkansas is a sellout at T. Boone Pickens Stadium. We've had a couple of guys who've covered Arkansas athletics for a long time, Matt, give differing opinions upon the importance level of the Oklahoma State game. Now, I think it's a really important game, but I'd have a difficult time thinking that the second game of the season is the most important game of the year. There is the ability to improve or get worse from the second week until, you've said, the first 3 weeks are where you improve the most. Just think of what Arkansas played was in the 21 season, the second game, South Carolina. Carolina didn't really look very good in that game under Shane Beamer. By the end of that season, I think they won a bowl game and were pretty happy with the way that they finished. So it's not to take away the thoughts of importance of that football game, but what the Oklahoma State game means to me, Matt, is you're facing a program that's in a much more stable position, a coach that's been there for a long time. You know, they're probably in the best position right now to win that league than they have been in a long, long time. Of course, with the departures of the two big behemoths, that's got something to do with it. But they're experienced. They got a lot of the guys coming back. And so, you're facing a team that is put together in a way that's much different than the way that this Arkansas team is put together, and maybe better, higher expectations for them as well. I think that game will show you where you are at that moment and where it is you got to improve, and whether or not, the talk of being physical and the rebuilding of specifically the offensive line. I think the defensive line is, got a lot of guys back from there. Whether or not you need a big improvement between the second week and 2 weeks later when you face an SEC team. And, Matt, isn't an SEC game always more important than one out of conference?
In theory, yeah. I mean, you still don't want to take an L, but you're trying to get to I don't even know if we do divisions now as far as trying to make it to the playoff 12. But, yeah, the conference games are weighted a little bit more. But it's going to be a great litmus test. A very good barometer to know where we are September 7th against a team that's picked to win the Big 12. So it's just gonna kind of tell you, and I'm with it. You go out there and get beat 48-14. Man, there's going to be a lot of it'd be how you carry yourself, how you're holding your head. You go out there and you lose 34-31. Like let's say that LSU game from last year. You're feeling good about the Alabama game from last year. You're still okay. We go out there and look like we did against Missouri or Auburn, then you're just going to your psyche is going to be so much different. So I think if you want to break it down into quarters or quads or whatever the segments that you're breaking it into, 100% out of these first three games, when you make your most improvement, week 2 is the most important game. Yeah. And then if you win that game, you know what? The next game becomes more important. Then the next game becomes, so yeah, that if you're breaking it down into sections and showing your first three games, that September 7th game is the one that matters. And you lose to UAPB or UAB, then we're having the wrong conversation. We don't even need to be talking about it if we lose to one of those teams.
If you lose to UAPB, I think we're having a conversation I don't want to have right now.
It could be
a different spot, but nobody's going to believe what you see from that game. It'll be what you see against Oklahoma State that'll be in the back of people's minds. And we got a text here, Matt, from Seth. Says, in his estimation, he thinks 3/4 of Razorback fans will look at the Oklahoma State game and decide whether they're going to devote the rest of the season to caring or buying tickets. And I think that's a little unfair to think about that the second week. But you're right. If you get your head handed to you in Stillwater, I think there's going to be plenty of people that just look at that as a connection to the way last season ended, even though these teams are much different, and throw up their hands and say, I'm ready for football, I'm ready for basketball.
There's a thing that in the NFL, you break it down into your quads, and now there's 17 games. But the same thing in the SEC. Phil, the same thing you do with your schedule. If you can start conference play 1-0, if you can start the season 1-0, but then you get to conference and you win your first game, your percentages of making a bowl game go up exponentially, just like in the NFL. If you win your first game of the season, you start 1-0, man, you have more than a 50% chance to make the playoffs. You start off 2-0, then it starts going up towards 60%. Same thing here. So no question, all these games matter. But that Oklahoma State game is just going to be a big test. And then we start at Auburn, at A&M. So my point is 2 back-to-back games on the road. So your 3 toughest games are on the road to start the season. Then you get Tennessee at home, who's picked to be a better team as well. Man, they don't get any easier, and nobody feels sorry for you. So you better be ready to go.
877-377-6963 for calls and texts on halftime. Back to wrap up our second hour in just a moment.
This is halftime.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Hey, Todd Richardson for Jim. They have several locations in the Arkansas area, but I specifically want to talk to you about Jim Mart number 10. Great deli. My goodness. Great lunch, great dinner. But have you had the breakfast yet? It's the best in town. And they have that convenient drive-through window. So when you're heading north or south on 540, take exit number 6 for Jim Mart number 10. 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Jim, the leading gas station and convenience store in the area.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Your home is your biggest asset. So when you decide to add a sunroom, a patio cover, a new driveway, or new windows, you need to call a company you can trust. Sawyers has been part of your community for over 30 years. They're insured, licensed, and have 100% financing for all of their products. Take all the worry out of your next project. Call Sawyers and let them handle it from permitting to completion. Sawyers, serving the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas with a full showroom located in Fort Smith or online at sawyers-sunrooms.com.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
The best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every Friday is Fajita Friday, featuring their charbroiled steak and chicken. It's tender, full of flavor, and comes with all the fixings. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef, chicken, or cheese enchiladas you can eat. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
The problem is all inside your head, she said to me. The answer is easy if you take it logically. I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. She said it's really not my habit to intrude. Furthermore, I hope my meaning won't be lost or misconstrued. But I'll repeat myself. At the risk of being crude, there must be 50 ways to leave your lover.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, we got C. Burger will be at Hardee's locations this week twice for preliminary rounds for the Football Trip of a Lifetime contest. Tuesday at Hardee's Phoenix Avenue. Thursday at Hardee's Rogers Avenue. Finish your Monster Burger in 150 seconds, and your seat is reserved in the finals August 24th. That's the Football Trip of a Lifetime. Tickets to see the Cowboys and the Eagles and all the things that go along with it. It's a game on November the 10th, and it's brought to you by Hardee's, ESPN Arkansas, and hitthatline.com. Now, see Burger, also see a movie over the weekend. Did you watch Thelma and Louise?
Yeah, what a movie, man.
They watched it as a unit.
As a family unit.
We're the units.
Now, when I think of you being a family unit, I think of you and the puppy Asher and your lovely wife. Was it the three of you together or just you and the pup?
Sort of the pup. I don't know how much TV he watches, but every now and then he'll sneak a peek.
Did you notice a very young Brad Pitt?
Yes, and I couldn't believe he stole
they
that
fooled
money,
him.
man.
He said, "Man, I was on."
Man,
their
I was
side.
expecting him to just ride off in the sunset with him, and he stole that money. I was like, "Wow."
Fun movie, really a fun movie. Now, how did he get assigned this one? Did he just come up with it himself?
Matt mentioned it, and then I looked it up, and I was like, "This looks interesting." And
Matt,
it
what'd you
was.
get your eyes on over the weekend? I know you had some movies.
Yeah, I watched Deadpool and Longlegs, the Nick Cage movie, and
I got to see Longlegs from what I'm reading.
If you're a high school kid, there was all high school kids in there. Like it was, it's
good gory deaths.
Well, it's a thriller. It's I mean it's got some intrigue. I like the ambiance of it. I like the colors, the flow, like the vibe. It was pretty cool. But it's just a little bit. It's out there, like you gotta.
It's not just kind of like out there.
It's
just
out,
like
there.
out there.
Yeah, it's all the way out there. And then Deadpool, which I think is the #1 movie in the country this year, I'd give it 2 stars. It definitely has its you watched it and it felt like you actually had the comic book in your hand turning the pages. I mean, it almost just felt like you were watching the movie as the comic book and you're flipping it was all right.
But I like the idea of Longlegs being out there, like in maybe like a gnarly and a kind of tubular kind of a way. Well, it was most of all just out there.
You got to go to Star World. You got to warp zone to Star World. Get Purple Yoshi, and no question about it. Nick Cage, I think he wrote and directed it, put a lot of his money into it. So it's one of those deals where he's Hollywood royalty, right? I mean, he's been Hollywood famous for 40 years.
No, he's pretty much going to be turning into the male version of Betty White very soon. Stay with us, our third hour of halftime in just a moment.
Whether you are fishing a jetty on the Arkansas River or working around laydowns at Beaver, Washita, or Table Rock, the Heddon Super Spook Jr. is the topwater bait to call up summer bass. The Super Spook Jr. is a smaller version of the world's most famous topwater lure. The Spook is the original walk-the-dog lure and has been tricking big bass for almost 100 years. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Heddon Super Spook Jr.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Summer camp, vacation, travel baseball, repeat. Family reunion, lake time, I'm beat. A parent in the summertime is a glorified chauffeur, but if you find yourself in a fender bender, you'll need a good lawyer. I'm Jackie Mock. With 12 years of experience in insurance and car wreck cases, I can help get you back on the road for more summer fun. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make Awake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make Awake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches, and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be in the low to mid 90s. We'll end up with a clear sky tonight, overnight low near 75. Sunshine, mid to upper 90s tomorrow. Wednesday, we're looking at clear skies, mid to upper 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits.
KERX Paris Fort Smith.
The Bud Light Countdown is on.
Arkansas football begins in 31 days.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Streaming on hitthatline.com.
You gotta take me here. That's the perspective. If I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no mock at halftime.
For one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Into our third hour on halftime. This is Phil Elson on ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com. My partner, Matt Jones. Christian Johnston producing the show at our ESPN Arkansas headquarters today. Going to get into high school basketball, high school football with Nate Olson from Scorebook Live in about 15 minutes. And any questions for Nate about either of those sports, 877-377-6963 for texts on those things. Other than that, it is just you and us. throughout this last hour. And I've got my eye, Matt, on the Major League Baseball transaction line because the trading deadline is tomorrow at 5 p.m. So what is that? That'd be 28 hours. If there was a really slow trading season up until about midway last week, and now you got the White Sox starting to sell much more. We knew that was going to happen, but they're going to start getting some trades. And the Rays are the team that's, I don't know if you can look at it at like a surprise that they're unloading a little bit right now. Pitchers, shortstop, outfielder, all leaving. Randy Arozarena going to the Mariners. I got Isaac Paredes to the Cubs, Zach Eflin to the Padres. And my team, you know, they're still in a position it's like, all right, you need a bat, you need a bat, you need a bat. Haven't gone on and gotten one just yet. Waiting for another day or so. Yankees needed a bat. They went out and got Jazz Chisholm. And we'll see how that works for them. I saw he was in center field when they beat the Red Sox yesterday, but he'll probably have to move to the infield. They said he's fine moving over to third base. And the White Sox just have to get rid of a bunch of their players because if they think this is the time to strike while the iron is hot, and I'd say the iron is reverse hot for them, freezing cold. Because right now, the White Sox are on pace for maybe 121 losses. I don't think there's been a major league team with 121 losses since before the turn of the 20th century. So, you know, you deal your best pitchers, you're probably going to be getting a lot worse. I'd like to see them lose 130. That'd be kind of fun.
I'd like to see regulation so you don't have to worry about stuff like that. Then you'd have teams, every team would try. But the truth of the matter is football, basketball, baseball, the trading deadline, I think, is most beneficial in baseball. You see trades made to teams that go on and win World Series or have postseason success. Basketball doesn't necessarily work out that way. Football, it doesn't either. And you don't see as much. I don't think you see as much trade deadline stuff for this coming season. Baseball is. I think Verlander and was it Scherzer that got traded from the Mets to both postseason contending type teams. Basketball and football, even if they make a trade at the deadline, sometimes they're trying to sign them and keep them next year, and it's for going. And not that you're not trying to go forward, but most impactful trade deadline I think is baseball, where you can make some trades and teams can change their fortune.
Well, and it's also you can sell for cash considerations, but you can't trade draft picks in baseball, which is probably the main difference between how transactions are finished in football, basketball, and in baseball, because they'll trade. I mean, trading draft choices is a way of getting business done in those sports, but you're not allowed to do it in baseball. All eyes are on the White Sox, though. Garrett Crochet, I think, pitches today, maybe his last game ever with the White Sox. Eric Fetty, Cardinals have their eye on him. Pirates and a couple other teams have their eyes on center fielder Luis Robert. And I would think, I would have thought Andrew Benintendi would be on the trade block too if he wasn't having such an awful season. I mean, he was dealt to the Yankees a couple of years ago at the trading deadline. I don't think it worked out for him all that well with New York that year. But that's the kind of player, a veteran, been around a little bit, had himself a couple of good years. Even if he's struggling, they're thinking, well, a veteran, if he's in the right situation and not on a team that's losing 80% of their games, might play a little bit better with a better lineup around him. But I haven't seen many rumors about Benintendi going on the trading deadline right now. So, and that's too bad for him. It's like I think about a guy like him or like Brent Rooker, slugger for the Oakland Athletics, and I'd be like begging. It's not my agent. Your agent can say, please trade this guy, but it's the team that owns your rights. The Athletic said they don't have plans to trade Brent Rooker. And if I'm him, I'd be thinking, oh, please trade me. Get me off of this water, this rock that is floating around the baseball universe without anything on it to actually keep a franchise afloat. No home city, no fan base to speak of. Moving to a AAA park for the next 3 years. You don't want to be a part of that. But yet the A's say, no, we're going to hold on to his rights. We're going to keep him. And that's just got to feel like it's absolutely awful. You want to get off that rock as soon as you possibly can. But yeah, the deadline is 5 o'clock tomorrow. So there's been a little bit of a flurry of late. I do see there's been one move made today, and it was Michael Lorenzen going from the Texas Rangers to the Royals. So, I mean, there's a team that could use an extra pitcher, and they're holding on to the third wild card spot of the American League. And, hey, it's like this is interesting to look at how franchises value being close to that last spot of the wild card. The Royals are a franchise on the way up. I mean, they've turned themselves around. They have maybe the most exciting player in the game, or at least one of them in Bobby Witt Jr. You know, there's not that much of a difference between the Rays and the Royals in the standings. The Rays are 54-52. The Royals have 3 more wins, 3 less losses. It's not that big of a difference, but the Rays are selling, and they sold to a team in the Mariners, trading Arozarena to a team to the Mariners that was ahead of them in the standings by a game. So it's more evidence, I guess, in some situations that sometimes the small market teams are still thinking always about building for the future, because that's what it looks like the Rays are doing at this very moment. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts. And so as you talk about the trading deadline in baseball, that starts heating up right around the time that NFL players that are unhappy with their contracts are holding out. Then there's a case like Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk is at practice, but I don't think he's taking part in practice. So he's just kind of watching by the side, the same amount if you're at practice but not actually practicing, if you've reported but you're not taking part of it. But it's, I don't know, I'm not a professional football player. What they're really doing that is that they are, I mean, these are all things that you can do for as a player if you're not happy with the contract. It's written into the players agreement with the owners. So, I mean, some players might, in my mind, I'm thinking a teammate looks at somebody that's at camp but not taking part and thinking, boy, that's really selfish. But at the same time, these guys all belong to the same union. They all know the rules, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do if you're unhappy with your contract, and this is the way you go about it.
Well, I think I get your point, but I think it shows that they're unselfish. If they're showing up to camp and they're still trying to get a contract, I think that's the front office, the coaches. I think you're going to meetings, you're still around the guys. That shows that, hey, I want my new deal. I've outperformed my last deal. None of these players ever. I have never been around a single player that talked bad about another player getting money like that. They're four players. Get your money. Get your money. Nobody, not one single person have I been around at that level held a grudge or been jealous or judgmental like that. All the players are on the player's side. I mean, that's just how it goes. I love the fact that IU's there. CeeDee Lamb has outperformed his contract too. I would love for him to be in practice. That would be if you're not going to go yet, because you don't need CeeDee Lamb running a curl route right now. You just don't need it. You need it about 2 weeks before the season starts. So let's get him in practice where at least we're going over things and he's around the guys and he has that feel, because both those guys are going to get new contracts. That's 100%. Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb will have new contracts before the season starts.
So I learned a new term, just reading about all this, a hold in. So that's what Ayuk is doing. Report to camp, not practicing, so you're not taking part. That's a hold in. Holdouts mean you're not at camp. Hold in means you're there, but you're just sort of sitting on the sidelines. The case of Hassan Reddick with the Jets is kind of mind-blowing, because I mean, they just traded for him from the Eagles, knowing full well that this is someone that's searching for a new contract. Could you imagine these two sides might have spoken about this very situation and how you would go about it? It's just kind of odd to see somebody that was just traded, knowing full well that he is due a new contract, haven't signed with that contract, and so he's holding out. It almost makes you think, hey, have the Jets ever made a move that hadn't panned out? Free agency, it's blown up in their face, I think, more times than it hasn't. Thinking of Le'Veon Bell. I mean, it blew up in their face last year with Aaron Rodgers. Wasn't free agency.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. Of course, he was at camp, though, so that was just a different situation than Reddick. But you trade for a guy expecting he's going to show up at camp. but you also trade for somebody that's due a new contract. I don't know. Maybe you give him a new contract. Difficult when it comes to the Jets, I guess. Just a moment, we'll be talking with Nate Olson from Scorebook Live. Hey, don't forget about the things going on at Twin Peaks and Rogers. They got the if you got fantasy football draft, they have a great deal for you right now at Twin Peaks and Rogers to have your draft or the fantasy football kickoff at Twin Peaks. This goes all the way through the end of the month, all the way through the start of the NFL season. You get bites for the whole team, $50 bonus card for the commissioner, an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter that takes part in the fantasy football kickoff at Twin Peaks. TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. And when the NFL season really kicks off on Thursday with the Hall of Fame game, catch it at Twin Peaks, the Bears and the Texans in Canton, Ohio. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff. Best place to watch it, Twin Peaks and Rogers, your sports headquarters. 29-degree draft beer made from scratch fan favorites and sports blasting from every angle. That's Twin Peaks in Rogers or online at TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. More TVs, bigger screens, and scenic views. Always more to watch at Twin Peaks. Nate Olson from Scorebook Live stops by halftime right after this.
Pat Jones, don't be so cool, dude.
This is halftime.
See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Hey, Ty Richardson checking in for the first time this afternoon at Harry Robinson Sallisaw Ford. They've got their Summer Smash sales event going on right now. Troy's going over here getting Josh excited. Last time Josh and I was over here, you weren't here, so I'm glad you're back. You got a great sale, plus a kind of great promotion going on right now.
Yeah, guys, I'm glad to be back. Guys, we were doing the Summer Smash sales event. We extended it through Wednesday of this week. Guys, you can come down here and save a lot of money right now. We've got up to $12,000 off on select used vehicles, up to $10,000 off on select new vehicles. Not only that, we've got cars, trucks, SUVs. You name it, we got it. If we don't got it, we can get it.
There's an old beater out there that you can take a whack at, too. That's all you got to do is test drive a vehicle.
Yeah, guys, you come down here and test drive a vehicle. We've got sledgehammers, crowbars, baseball bats, and you get to go let out some frustration.
Maybe you're just having a bad week and you want to do that. Come on by and see Josh and Harry Robinson Sallisaw Ford, 1 mile south off X308 off I-40 in Sallisaw. Online, harryrobinson.com.
It's summer clearance sale time at Jelco Outdoors. Save 25% off summer casual and fishing clothing by area, Brake, Hook, Wrangler, and Under Armour. Old Town kayaks and canoes, marked to cost. Save hundreds of dollars on the Old Town while they last. Archers, get ready for early bow season. Don't miss the summer clearance sale at Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Patriot Transport wants to thank their drivers for their hard work and dedication. The local and over-the-road drivers are essential to the Patriot Transport mission. Day in and day out, Patriot Transport drivers are on the road striving for safety and success. To the behind-the-scenes dispatch and office employees, Patriot Transport thanks them as well for the hard work they put in day and night. If you want to be a part of the Patriot Transport family, visit patriottransport.com. Patriot Transport is located in Danville, Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
when you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. But you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
I've been falling and I can't confess it, but I'm still guessing. Girl, don't lie, just to save my feelings. Girl, don't cry and tell me nothing's wrong. Girl, don't try to make up for the reasons I'd rather leave than never be. This is it.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Nate Olson with us right now from Scorebook Live, digging into some high school sports across Arkansas and, in some cases, their connections to the Razorbacks. Happy Monday, Nate. How you doing?
Doing great. Happy Monday to you. Football season is coming, isn't it? It's knocking on the door. We've got all kinds of football stuff. I know we're talking a little basketball to begin with. A lot of football stuff on SB Live.
Yeah, well, so I know that J.J. Andrews has been given an offer from John Calipari for the 2026 class. He's from Little Rock Christian.
Yep.
We've wondered about recruitment from the state of Arkansas for Cal because you're casting a wider net than before while still paying attention to what's going on in this state. Tell me about J.J. Andrews and where he might fit in.
Yeah, well, first of all, Cal may be a little surprised at how much talent there is here. I know he's monitored a little bit, but when he gets to see it up close, I think he'll be able to tell that even some of these kids that are 6th and 7th grade, the pipeline is really strong. You look at all the guys that are in the NBA from Arkansas, basketball is thriving here. Lottery picks and big-time players. JJ checks all the boxes. When I'm talking about recruits and high school players, you talk about these boxes. And there's guys that are great athletes, and then there's guys that are good athletes and good students, and then there's these rare kids that are great athletes, great students, great citizens. He checks all the boxes. Mature guy, smart guy, academic, all-state. He was awarded the top academic award in 4A in basketball by AETN. And so he's a coach's dream, and he's got this great frame at 16 years old, 6'6", like 210. Could have played football. Dad, Sean Andrews, great offensive lineman for Arkansas, probably the best ever, an NFL Pro Bowler. And so he's got that athleticism from his dad. His mom was an athlete too. But coaches talk about when they recruit you, they know how you can play. They know you're a great player. And Cal's got his choice of any player he wants. It's the person, to me, that is the big thing. Are these guys going to be able to play within a team concept? Are they going to be disciplined? Are they going to follow the rules? When you've got a program like that, like Duke and North Carolina and Kansas, Arkansas, you can be discriminate. And I can't say enough. I mean, I've known him since he was a little kid. I met him when he was little. I've known his dad, covered his dad since his junior year of college. Great family, and he would be an awesome fit at Arkansas. I think that he likes Arkansas. He likes Cal. Very impressed with him when I talked to him the other night.
I don't think you can put an artificial number on this, but obviously you're paying attention to the kids in the state. And you said something that I think hits with a lot of Razorback fans who are already in the know about this, that this state is, and has been for a while, a hotbed of basketball talent.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's recent. I'm sure John Calipari is well aware of this, but it's a program that, you know, when you look at Cal and his history, you know, couple three from the state that you're coaching inside, and then you're looking basically coast to coast. How many Arkansans do you think we might see on this Arkansas basketball roster in the near future?
I think you could see at least 2 or 3, and because I think that, you know, think about what we've seen recently. Kel'el Ware in the NBA, he didn't come to Arkansas, but he's the kind of guy that Cal would recruit. Nick Smith went to Arkansas, definitely a guy that he would recruit. Those guys are top 15 players in the country. J.J. Andrews, top 15 player in the country. You're going to continue to see this talent fill of where these guys fit his model, and he may branch out a little bit to some guys that maybe aren't in the top 25 that he just likes. You know, he's offered Isaiah Seeley in the 24 or the 25 class, and Cortland Muldrew. Muldrew went off to play prep school, but they're both from Springdale. And those guys are, I think, around top 50 players. So I think as he gets more acquainted, he will take a chance on some of those guys. But the point is, Arkansas is now producing Malik Monks, Nick Smith, Kel'el Ware, J.J. Andrews, players that are obvious for him. And he has a better chance of getting them, too, I think, because, you know, he's in Arkansas. So, I mean, they're right in his backyard. I mean, it's an easy offer to offer those guys, and probably to get them. You know, JJ's got a while to make a decision. You know, he likes Eric Musselman. I know his dad likes Musselman. He's at USC, obviously. I think they'll give him a hard look because Muss gave him one of the first offers, maybe the first one, and they like it. But California's a long way. Fayetteville is pretty close to Little Rock, and he's a family guy. Knows what his dad did up there. I think he appreciates that. That's not going to be the deciding factor, but it is very interesting to him that that's where his dad went and has a legacy there.
Can you tell me about the kid? Is it from Detroit, Michigan, the point guard, best point guard in the country that's the 2025 class? Have you seen him play?
Haven't seen him play, but, you know, read about him. You can read about him on SB Live. Yeah, I mean, that's
Barry Acuff, who just committed on Friday.
Yeah, Acuff, yeah. That's what I call the Cal factor. I mean, you know, Musselman, I thought, did a very good job recruiting. You know, he did a good job, and I think he brought Arkansas basketball to another level. But, you know, you talked about in-state recruiting and getting guys that are 4 and 5 stars. Well, now, I mean, that's going to be the standard, you know, getting 4 and 5 star guys from all over the country. He's an example. I mean, I don't know if Arkansas gets him without John Calipari. And, you know, and talking to JJ, I mean, these guys are really mesmerized by him. I don't know how he talks to them, but he you know, he's a 60-some-year-old guy, but he, you know, speaks the language and is able to communicate with these guys on a level that they like. And he used the word cool and a cool dude and, you know, that kind of thing. So he relates to those guys. And that's what you got to do as a coach. I mean, you're a salesman. You're trying to sell the program. He obviously knows how to relate to young people, and they like him. And, you know, this guy, yeah, he's a big-time player. I mean, and it's got to be exciting for Hog fans because if you have 5-star guys like that on your roster, you have the best point guard in the country. I mean, that's going to mean Final Four. I mean, I have said that from the beginning, guys. Arkansas will probably go to at least 2 Final Fours and win a championship in the next 5 years, and I'm convinced of that. I mean, and something strange could happen, I think, of course, but I am very confident with that kind of talent. I think he's recharged. He seems to understand some of the mistakes he might have made in the last few years at Kentucky. I look for an invigorated coach at Cal and the most talent we've seen on the Hill at one time in a long, long time. And that's got to, in my opinion, translate into the national championship.
Nate, so one of the real things that has stood out to me, at least on our text line, is how important it was for fans that Ronnie Brewer stayed on staff. And I think that's important to kids in the state who know about him. Just put it out. How important is Brewer to being able to recruit kids in the state? And then the other aspect of this is, does football need somebody like that recruiting the state as well?
Good question. Love Ronnie. Great guy. Covered him in high school. Ronnie's another guy that just knows how to relate to kids if they're from Arkansas or Pennsylvania or Los Angeles. And I think they like it, that all the kids that know him like it, that he played in the NBA, and you can Google him and see easily his exploits if you don't remember him playing. You know, I think that with Cal here, maybe the in-state lure is a little less. I mean, you need a little less of a person that can relate to in-state coaches. It probably does help being from here, but it may be a little bit less. But no doubt, I thought that was I think he understood. I mean, some of those things, that these decisions he's making, and what I alluded to, the improving, I think he knew he needed to have him on, and that was the key. That's a small thing, but it's a key component. He's familiar with recruiting different parts of the country, so it was great. Football, really, I think what rules recruiting in football especially is the NIL. So guys in Arkansas, if they can make $500,000 somewhere else, only $250 here, maybe they're not going to come here. But I always liked having a Tim Horton or a Barry Lunny, because they can walk in anywhere and be seen. And you know, maybe that's a lost art now with the money part of it. But I think it's a good rule of thumb for any coach in Arkansas, football coach, to have somebody. Now, does that mean you're going to get all the guys? No. But I mean, those guys are good coaches. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have Tim Horton here? I mean, he can coach different positions, and he knows everybody. So he made a good living in Arkansas for a while with different coaches recruiting here. But I think it's a good idea. Is that going to spell all the, or cure all the woes that have been happening with the in-state guys? No, not until they get the money, because, now with this free market, you're going to go where the cash is. I mean, a lot of guys are going to do that. And they're not really worried about being loyal to the state. They're trying to get paid. It's a business, and if you're a parent of one of these kids, you'd want your kid to get the most money they could too, probably, and that's, I think people need to look at that. It is disappointing, I know, for fans to see these guys leaving, but it's a bigger problem to fix than just having some Arkansans on the staff. There's some money issues too, I believe.
Well, as we get closer to football season, we'll be having Nate on a much more regular basis. Before we go, Nate, give me one football team right now that I know in the state of Arkansas, high school-wise, that you're looking forward to seeing and that you want to maybe get a chance to watch in practice over the next couple of weeks.
Well, Little Rock Parkview, and I think they should be included in our national top 25. And, Cam Settles is going to, Arkansas fans are a little bit upset that they didn't get, the two guys, Robinson, the other guys from Parkview. They got Quentin Murphy, but they didn't get Montario Elston. But they've got a good chance to get Cam Settles, a running back, who I think is better than Elston, a bigger guy. That's going to happen Saturday. So stay tuned for that. But Parkview is loaded. I don't think they're going to lose. Their toughest game is going to be at Melissa, Texas, and at Bryant. But I'm really looking forward to seeing them work out and play in their preseason game against Catholic, because I think they could be one of the better teams in the country. I really do. I think they're kind of like a Bryant, and during that 5-year run, that Bryant-Parkview game is going to be a big one, and we'll talk about that week 2 when it happens. It's going to be the biggest game in the state that week. But, yeah, Parkview, you're definitely interested to see some of those guys working out.
Nate, you're a good man. You're a great reporter, and we appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to having you on again soon and a lot more with football season coming up.
Really looking forward to it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nate.
It's Nate Olson, Scorebook Live. We will have him weekly on halftime. Into the home stretch of halftime, so calls and texts right now, 877-377-6963. Right back after this.
This is halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It started as a dream, and here you are. It's moving day. But wait, isn't moving supposed to be stressful? Oh, that's right. You bought your home using Weichert Realtors. Your Weichert agent guided you from start to finish to help make sure we found you your perfect place. Dream, move, home, Weichert. Call your local Weichert Realtors office today and make your move. And look for our bright yellow signs. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Todd Richardson checking back in. Harry Robinson, Sallisaw Ford. It is their summer smash sales event. You come test drive a vehicle, you get to smash that beater right up front. But it's not just about that, Daniel. I mean, you guys have up to $6,000 in factory rebates on Newports, not pre-owned, Newports right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Ford's starting to come out again with the rebates, and so it's a great time to buy new. Got all sorts of things.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
You won't catch me crying 'cause I just can't win. Don't care anymore. Don't care anymore. I don't care what you say. I don't play the same games you play. 'Cause I've been talking to the people that you call friends. It seems to me there's a means to one and they don't care anymore. As me, I can sit here by my time. Got nothing to lose. It's in my mind. I don't care anymore.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
I feel the excitement. Like, I feel it. I feel it in the building. I feel it on the campus. I feel it around the state. I see it. I feel it. I was told a couple weeks ago that we sold out season tickets. People, it's July. The building seats 20,000.
It's John Calipari at his press conference that today was started at 11 o'clock, had about an hour long. Trevin Brazil, Boogie Fland, and Adu Tiero were the players that also were on camera, and we'll have some sound bites of those guys tomorrow on the Morning Rush and also on halftime. But hey, he went from a building that was bigger. I don't know if they had sold out that early at Rupp. Sold out season tickets July, and I could hear a little bit of the Pittsburgher in him there, the way he said 1,000. They say, you say 1,000. In Pittsburgh, it's 1,000. You could hear that a little bit there from Coach Calipari. And if you go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say it is excitement in the air.
Absolutely.
I mean, the people are excited.
Here's John Calipari on the schedule, or at least right now, lack thereof.
Right now, we'd like to get another home game. We're going to Michigan and New York City. We're playing in Kansas City, not far. We chose there for a game with Illinois where our fans can get to. We've got we're an exhibition with TCU in Dallas. We're in the works. We're in the works with Kansas on an exhibition here in Bud Walton. We play at Miami. We're trying to get another home game or another game maybe in Dallas or neutral site. Obviously, we play in Little Rock. But this was hard now, and we're still not done because most people had most of their stuff done when we took over. And then I did not ask about schedule until after I had 5 players, so I knew I could field a team.
It's interesting. And so there's a little bit of news there. TCU in Dallas, Kansas at Bud Walton Arena, potentially for preseason exhibitions. And this is one thing you're starting to figure out with the schedule with Coach Calipari. It sounds like fewer games at Bud Walton Arena, even though everything is sold out. Now, you'll have the same amount of conference games at home. You know, if you're going to Kansas City, if you're going to New York City, and, you know, this year going to Miami for the ACC, might be a fewer home game, maybe 1 or 2. At least that's what it sounds like. For his excitement, though, Matt, I almost everybody here in Arkansas is fired up about it. Like Ryan in Prairie Grove texted in when we were talking with Mike Irwin about an hour and a half ago. He says, I still can't believe that he's the coach. So, I mean, I think that that's still sinking in because now you're going to hear a lot more of John Calipari talking about Arkansas. But I wonder about, like, his excitement level and just the ability now to start over at a place where you can start over from absolutely nothing. They had nothing. They didn't have a schedule. They didn't have a player. They didn't have a roster. And you can hear the excitement in his voice, too, as this has got to be the last, stage of his career. There's the UMass stage. There's the Nets. There's Memphis, Kentucky, and Arkansas. This is where he rides off into the sunset. I can hear that excitement in his voice.
Yeah, you don't play, unlike football, you don't play any of your postseason games at home. So you got to go learn to win on the road. I like it because it's a comfort. Bud Walton's one of the best home court advantages, and I think when he got hired, one of the first things I said was, I bet he wins 90% of his home games. I mean, he's the home court. They've already sold out. I mean, we're going to win a lot of home games. We don't lose a lot of games up there. So to be able to go on the road and compete in some big time games, some big time environments, that'd be good. I could see Calipari coaching Arkansas, 4-8 years, and then maybe being, part of the Olympic staff for 4-8 years, like that could be. But yes, I think this is his last big time gig as far as the CEO, head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. I don't think in 2 years he's going to go take the Brooklyn Nets job or something. I think he's here. This would be it. And but then I could see him doing something with USA basketball.
Brandon texted in at 877-377-6963. He says, Calipari's so good, he could sell water to a drowning man. The thing about somebody like Calipari, and the best salesmen are like this, and I say that with the absolute utmost respect for that skill. You don't even realize you're being sold because you don't feel like you're being sold. You know what it feels like sometimes when you're out trying to buy something and somebody that's in the sales department comes over and starts talking to you, and all of a sudden your skin begins to crawl a little bit. Just the word choice, the way they're speaking to you, how close they are to you in some situations. Some people make you realize that they're trying to sell you something. The best salespeople are the people that are able to sell you without you even realizing that they just sold something to you. You want to be part of what that person is doing. That's what it seems like with Calipari. I had one happenstance meeting with him on the steps of Cheers on the town square in Fayetteville during the baseball season. And look, I'd never had a face-to-face with him before that. And you get a sense this is somebody that just is able to get on people's level, no matter who it is. When he's there with you, he's on your level. He wasn't selling anything to me, but you get a sense of what that personality was like. Now, Emmanuel Quickly, remember he played for him at Kentucky. There was a documentary made about his career and his recruitment, and that also included Calipari talking to him about a number of things. And you get a sense this is being sold without realizing that you're being sold.
Lifetime scholarship. Our kids go to class. Lifetime scholarship means you finish the term before you leave, so you're academically in good standing, and then you come back whenever you want. The kids that I'm recruiting, most of them have a 4 to 5 year window. Your academic window's 50 years. Your basketball window's 4 to 5 years. And you may say, well, what's 4 to 5 years mean? Doesn't mean you have to leave after a year. You may. Maybe what you do. I've had guys leave after a year, 2 or 3. But within that window, you got to do your college thing, get drafted, and establish who you are, because this first contract, it's the second one. And that's why my guys are going to that league and get the second contract. And it's all the stuff that guys can't argue.
Well, then there's that kicker. That kicker at the end. My guys get the second contract. And there's the evidence of this, too. No coach can say, if you're trying to negatively recruit against Calipari, that they don't get that second contract, and you don't have evidence of them not getting it. Now, that's the kicker as well. The facts that go along with it, and that's the thing that these kids that they're going after want to hear, because they view themselves as NBA players. They view themselves as one and done. They view themselves as someone that will be in the NBA for a long, long time. Someone like John Calipari comes after you, recruiting you, it makes you believe that even more so. And you're willing to listen to anything that man has to say. But it's also the words that he chooses, the words that he chooses, the way that he speaks. I think he's a salesman who sells people and they don't even realize it's happening.
They're going to win a lot of games. If you show up and he shows up in your household, I guess if that's how they do recruiting anymore, and you're going to listen to what he has to say. And the thing is, you see his resume. It speaks for itself. He doesn't have to say much. Look at all the players he's put in the league. And so who knows how to do it? Who knows how to do it better? Who can make a POA? You have a plan of action that you're going to attack this with. And I mean, that's who you'd want to be vibing with. Those are the words. That's who you want to gather as much information as you can from, and because that's what you're trying to do is get that second contract.
John Calipari on the challenge of a good mindset at Arkansas.
The biggest challenge you have, how do I get these guys to think different, to think bigger? It was only a few short months ago I walked in with no team, no staff, no schedule, and now we're talking about how do we get a new team and how do we get them to think together but think bigger?
That's John Calipari earlier today, and we'll have that press conference up on hitthatline.com. By the way, Bet Saracen right now has preseason odds on the national champion for basketball. They've had it up for a while now. They've got Arkansas with the 5th best odds. UConn, Duke, Kansas, Alabama, and Arkansas are the top 5. Plus, everything going on in the Olympics, preseason props for NFL and college football, and NBA preseason props are up as well. Major League Baseball season, full swing. Tons going on the Bet Saracen app. Make sure you're inside the state of Arkansas to use it. Bet Saracen works on your Apple iPhone. You can just download from the App Store, Google Android, from Google Play. All the web browsers work. BetSaracen.com. We'll be back and wrap up halftime right after this.
This is halftime. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Todd Richardson back here. Harry Robinson, South Forward, 1 mile south off exit 308 off I-40 in Sallisaw. Ethan, you guys have got a lot going on right now with this Summer Smash sales event. And as always, you can bring in your vehicle and see what it's worth, not just to trade it in, but you guys wild ride by it here at Harry Robinson, Sallisaw Ford.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost nothing we won't do to work a deal or to make you guys happy. And so that's why we did the Summer Sales Smash event, or the Summer Smash Sales event.
Have you hit the car yet?
I have. We all have. But the customers need to come down. You can beat up a car after a test drive. It's lots of fun, but not just, getting a little bit serious. We're doing up to $12,000 off select pre-owned. We're doing up to $10,000 off select new.
Now, that's $22,000 in different savings right there. And that's new and pre-owned, different vehicles. For all the information, Ethan is your guy to come see Summer Smash sales event going on right now. Harry Robinson, Sallisaw Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Sallisaw.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
Summer is here and adventure is calling. Visit Southern Tire Mart for a new set of Yokohama tires to get your vehicle ready for summer travels. Southern Tire Mart is your trusted partner for top quality tires, professional services, and competitive pricing. Visit us in Fort Smith at 9700 Highway 271 and let Southern Tire Mart ensure your vehicle is ready for the open road. Southern Tire Mart is a proud dealer of Yokohama tires. We keep America rolling.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
How you gonna top yourself when there's nobody else? How you gonna do it by yourself? 'Cause I'm not gonna be here to help you. Yeah. How you gonna top yourself when there is nobody else? How you gonna do it by yourself? 'Cause I'm not gonna be here to help you.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We have a trade being reported by sources. No one's going to say anything who the sources are. With a trading deadline 5 o'clock tomorrow, Major League Baseball, it looks like the St. Louis Cardinals are making a little bit of a move. They will be trading. This will be a 3-team deal. Cardinals, Dodgers, and White Sox involved in this. The St. Louis Cardinals will get right-hander Eric Fetty and a reunion with Tommy Pham. It's been a while since Pham came up with St. Louis. Dodgers will get Tommy Edman and Michael Kopech. I thought the Sox might hold on to Kopech, but yeah, closers at this time of the year are going to get a lot more in return. White Sox will get a bunch of prospects. So, yeah, Pham was last with St. Louis in 2018. Then they dealt into the Rays. And since then, Padres, Reds, Red Sox, Mets, Diamondbacks, and White Sox. It's a lot of moving around.
Was he with the Diamondbacks last year in the World Series?
I think he was, yes.
I thought yeah.
One of those big off-season pickups by the White Sox that has not gone very well. Fetty's a big pickup for the Cardinal. They need some help on the pitcher's mound. Getting Pham back, he's not an everyday guy right now, but that's somebody with still can give you a little pop off the bench. Not a bad deal for them at all. I'm still waiting for the Pirates to get a bat. They get a bat, and I might actually buy in a little bit more. I was in Pittsburgh over the weekend briefly, and they're into it. They're definitely into it, but they're also at the point where they want to feel like the front office feels the same way that they do about their team this year. So, man, it's been good getting back. Last week, the week before, man, I don't think we've had 5 days doing the show together. Maybe all month.
Holiday hours.
That's right. Holidays are over now. Literally,
that's it.
There's no more holiday until Labor Day, and when that hits, we've had a football game by then.
August 31st is the next holiday. That's when we take on UAPB.
Yeah, I'd say first day of football season could be a real national holiday. Absolutely. And, tomorrow there'll be a little more going on because it's media day for the football team. I'm not exactly sure what that means. If it's a bunch of press conferences or just you're able to get some interviews with guys in the locker room. But Sam Pittman and Ben Souders will begin speaking at, looks like 2:30 in the afternoon is when you get Souders, Coach Pittman at 2. So we were able to play a lot of sound today from John Calipari, and I guess we won't get the Pittman sound for tomorrow, but we'll have it for Wednesday. Football season is upon us. Heck, it almost felt like basketball season was upon us. We talked so much hoops today as well. Ruskin and Zach are standing by, and the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast published very soon. If you missed any of our conversations today, Nate Olson, Scorebook Live, and Mike Irwin, Pig Trail Nation, all be available there on the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast. So until tomorrow, for Matt Jones, Christian Johnston, I'm Phil. Thanks for listening today. And that's halftime on a Monday. Now get up, get out, and get better.